Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to Valiant Gauntlet quest number 5. We are almost there in the end, so just bear with me. So this one is going to be divided into four parts and there is going to be a bunch of defenders on it. So let's look at them one by one, path by path. But remember, before we jump into that, this is all about your Mystic Champions. The nodes is going to be Arcane Zeal and Steady Perseverance, so the defender will gain a stun immunity whenever they will use a special attack. And with Arcane Zeal, whenever you will gain a bar of power, you will get a Fury, passive Fury on you. That will be converted into a permanent Fury if you nullify any buff from the opponents. So once we have that out of the way, let's look at the two paths that are there. 14 fights each, really annoying, really long, but we have to plan through it. So let's look at path number 8, that is going to be the left path. So looking at the left path, that is going to be path A. There are going to be 4 sections as you see on the left side of the graphic. Now every section has like a boss in it, well 3 of them. So the first section is Gamora, Shatra, High Evolutionary. Then there's a selection portal followed by Craven, Ghost and Deadpool exposed with another selection portal. Now the C path is going to have 4 fights, Captain Marvel, Valkyrie, Misty Knight, selection portal and then High Evolutionary number 2 and then a selection portal with Elsa Bloodstone, Airwalker, Super Skrull and ending up with High Evolutionary. So the way I do it, I always put my defenders or the attackers against the boss first. So I went in with Shield, Kate Bishop and Kingpin as my 3 counters to have High Evolutionary. Then I had to look for any tricky fights. So the path A is going to be a very simple path. There is no difficult fight. Only one there is going to be Super Skrull. So you can bring in a champion that is going to have miss immunity or like falter immunity, like you can use Spiral against him, but just make sure that you have a good counter lined for that. Other than that, it's a very simple and straightforward vanilla fights. You can bring any champion. That Misty Knight can also be a bit tricky, but yeah, once you have that down, then the path is easy to deal with. Now moving on to path number 2, that is going to be the right path. I call it path B. Again, 4 sections, 3 bosses. I'm gonna put Shield, Kate Bishop and Kingpin as first. That is going to be the counters. Then I'm gonna look for the tricky fights. Now here there's a tricky fight, that is Kushala. Remember not to bring somebody like Juggernaut or a champion that gets a lot of buffs against Kushala because you will die very quick. So be careful about that. Then there's going to be Ultron, so he's going to have that evade, so that is going to be important. And then the most annoying fight is going to be Blade. Remember not to bring a dimensional being against him because Mystic class has most of the dimension beings, so take care about that. The Superior Iron Man, Guardian and Shocker are easy fights. Shocker can be a bit annoying, just be careful about that, but other than that, pretty straightforward fights. And this is going to be my plan for path number B, that is going to be the right one. So I hope this helps you out guys, and we will jump into path number 2 and discuss the fights and what to take care about and what not to take about with both the A and B and ending up with High Evolutionary. Alrighty, so once you go on the right side of the path, you will have Karnak to face. If you look on the top right of the screen, there is path A and there is path B also. So I am going against Karnak on path B. So the difficult fights here are going to be Kushala and also Ultron. Kushala, you have to make sure that you do not bring a champion that is going to have a lot of buffs because she is going to melt you out. And then for Ultron, you have to make sure that you have some kind of a miss counter or you can play around it. So yeah, those are going to be the important ones. I just brought in a Doom to bring down Karnak. Quite simple. He has a nullify on SP1. So whenever I gain a power, bar of power, I throw that out and I gain that Fury. Now, if you go on to the other side, that is going to be path A, you're going to have a Craven, then you're going to have a Ghost, and followed by a Deadpool X-Force. Now, all of those fights are super easy to deal with. I'm not going to show them on video, but they are just very vanilla fights that you can bring any Mystic champions in. So Craven, you have to make sure that you push him to an SP2, and Ghost, just let him throw her specials and that will be giving you openings. And for Deadpool X-Force, try to keep him to an SP1. And you should be good. But remember, there is going to be an extra node here that is called underhanded comment, so that might reduce your ability accuracy, but all in all, pretty simple kind of fights to deal with, nothing to worry about. Only if you're going onto the right side, make sure that you bring in a good counter for Kushala and Ultron and you should get through it. Now, once you do finish this part, there is going to be a portal at the end of it, and that portal will take you on to the next 3 fights and the boss. So you have to pick up 3 mystic champions, those are important. So remember, when you do section number 1, you are going to bring in 2 mystic champions and 2 skill champions, because on the boss you can use skill champions. So once you take down the 2 defenders and the boss, then you have a selection portal, and then that will get to you to the second section, the one you're watching right now. Here you just have 3 fights, 3 regular path fights, so you pick up 3 mystic champions. Now once you're done with this, there is going to be a selection portal, and from there you will again pick 3 mystic champions, because the next 3 fights are also going to be mystic. Now speaking of section 3, we are here now, and the 3 fights are going to be Night Thrasher, War Machine, and also Blade. So you have to be very careful about Blade, that you do not bring in a champion that is a dimensional being, otherwise the ability accuracy will be reduced and it will do a lot of damage to you. I am purposely doing Path B because there are more difficult fights here. Path A is super easy to deal with. Now for Night Thrasher, it's good if you push him to an SP2, but both of his specials can be easily evaded. He's not really a difficult defender to deal with. I'm just using my rank 4 Werewolf by Night, and he will just melt him away. SP2 will help you just evade it faster and go back in again, and before you know it, you will drop Night Thrasher like nothing. But if you go to Path A, the fights are even easier. There is going to be Miss Marvel, then there's going to be Valkyrie, and there's also going to be Misty Knight. So if you look at the top right of the video, you will notice that I've given Path A and Path B. I'm not doing all the paths because then the video becomes too long, and I'm also using 7-star champions because I want to keep the video shorter and pack as much value as possible. You can do the same fights with the same champions with your 6-star rank 5 versions, or 6-star ascended versions, or 6-star rank 4 versions with boost. All of those can work out. It's just about picking the right champions, and you can get through this fight quite comfortably. For a quest 5, that fights are not really that difficult, except for a few chosen ones. Like the next one is going to be against a Blade, and you have to be super careful of not bringing in a dimensional being, otherwise that can be quite a bit of trouble against a Blade. So here we are, we've got Blade, and I've brought in my Diablo. So all I'm going to do is parry and heavy, and build up to then SP3 and throw that out. Make sure he's below 1 bar of power, so he does not shrug off my poisons quick. The lesser the power he has, the shrug off is shorter. So I will make sure that he does not have any kind of power on him when I throw my SP3, and I should be good. But still remember that he is going to go unblockable after specials because of that steady preservance, so you have to be very careful about that. And as soon as I get an SP1, there you are, he's gonna go from 50% health down to 0 in a quick succession. And there we go, the poisons are ticking in, and you have taken down Blade. Now after this, there is going to be a selection portal, and here you can pick champions for the boss that is going to be high evolutionary. Now you have to pick skill champions, so I am going for Kate Bishop. All I'm going to do is to use my medium, light, medium. So here we are, I'm using my heavy attack. Now the next one is going to be parry, medium, light, medium, and then again parry into a heavy attack. All you need to do is this: parry, medium, light, medium, parry, and then heavy attack, and keep high evolutionary to an SP1 only, and you will have a great fight. As soon as you push him to an SP2, he is going to start reversing your controls, and that is going to be a problem. So again, all you need to do is get to an SP2, throw that out with a perfect release. That is going to be 2 cold snaps, and that he is done. Heavy attack again, refresh them, and then because you see that the last attack I've used is heavy, I'm gonna use medium, light, medium again, and before we know it, high evolutionary is down. So Kate Bishop just literally destroys him. And voila, just like that, we are on the last section. Now on the last section, there is going to be 3 fights again, followed by the final boss fight that is going to be high evolutionary. Now path A is going to consist of Elsa Bloodstone, Airwalker and Super Skrull. So the difficult fight in Path A is going to be Super Skrull. So you have to bring in a champion that can either deal with Miss, or you have to play around the Falter. So Spiral is a really good one for that. Now, if you don't know what I'm referring to, look at the top right of the screen. It says Path A and Path B. So for Section D, there is going to be, if you go to Path A, you will face these defenders. If you go to Path B, you are facing Superior Iron Man, Guardian, and also Shocker. So here we are. I'm just running through the Superior Iron Man fight. All I'm doing with Wiccan is I've got my Neutralize up, and he cannot gain any kind of buffs, and that will apply all of those incinerates on him and then will melt him away. So pretty simple and straightforward one. I've given you quite a few counters, but the basic thing is bring in your Mystic champions for the path fights who can apply easy nullifies, and whenever you will nullify a buff on the opponent, the furies that you gain whenever you will gain a bar of power will be converted to permanent instead of being there temporarily. Now, next up is Guardian. I brought in a Juggernaut because he can easily nullify with his basic attacks. And as soon as I get to an SP2, I'm going to throw that out. But hey, he went indestructible. Now, why is that? Because there is a new node on section number 3 that is going to be feats of indestructible. So whenever you will gain 2 bars of power, the defender will go indestructible for 4 to 5 seconds. So you have to push yourself to 2 bars of power and then wait it out. There you go. And now because it's nullified, I can easily throw my SP2 and deal a bit of damage, and with 1 SP2 he is dead. So Juggernaut is a doozy, but don't worry about the indestructible. You can remove it with your nullifies. Next up is going to be Kushala. So Kushala also has that SP1 nullifier, so you're just going to spam that, and just be careful because Shocker has shorter stuns, so he can be really annoying, and he also goes unblockable. But the good thing about Kushala, as long as you have your blue blessing up, you can block the unblockables, but that I did not remember when I was doing the fight, and I took quite a bit of hits, and it was a very panic fight for me in the end, but that's okay. I was able to take him down eventually. He also threw out a big SP2 which I kind of blocked, and I did not die, so he just ticked off from all of those incinerators that was on him. So it was a very good choice to bring in Kushala. Now, after all of that is said and done, you are at the end with another champion selector. So what I like to do, I like to bring in synergies for my attacker. So my attacker here is Kingpin. Now he is an ascended version. This will be a slow fight, but that's okay. I'm just going to use my medium, light, medium into SP1s. Then I'm going to use my parry into heavy, and then again parry into medium, light, medium, and that should be enough to take him down. He is going to apply a bit of debuffs on you, and within the timer you will have to remove them. So you see there is combo detonation, so I have to add in 13 hits to remove that. But the more hits you land on the defender, the combo detonation is reduced, so try to reduce it as much as possible so you take less damage. But before you know it, high evolutionary is down to 54%. Not really worried about that. Also, I run 3x3 willpower, so I am also healing up. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you found it helpful. Again, I think this format is kind of working, but do let me know that if you want some change or if I can make it more helpful, because this is also the Valiant format is changing, so I'm trying to change it according to that. So let me know in the comment section what did you use and if this was helpful, and I will see you on the final video of the Valiant Gauntlet this month. I'll be so happy it's over. So I hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.